Preste from Prestige Wellness. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, Reiki master, life coach, and EFT practitioner. And right here to my left is beautiful Brooke.
Hi, Brooke.
Hi. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
My name is Brooke Sternber. I am a holistic maternal health specialist, a doula, for those that know what a doula is, as well as a Reiki master teacher. And thank you girls so much for having me here today.
We loved having you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Dominique Natali. I'm an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and writer of Desperate to Stop Suicide. And thank you guys so much for coming and joining us today. We are going to talk about Reiki healing. So, Eve, what is Reiki healing?
Reiki comes from the word Rei and Ki. Rei is like a light source of energy. Ki is the flow of energy. So with our intentions and through the higher vibrations that is downloaded from the higher self, the higher Christ-like consciousness through us, it works through us like a vessel, and we go on and we put our energy, our hands over the person that we are healing and helping to release any trapped or negative energy that's in the energetic body. Correct, Brooke?
Correct. Yeah, and the energetic body consists of 5 different levels, and one of those levels being physical, which is what most of us kind of are aware of as our physical reality, our physical body. And when it comes to working with energy therapy, specifically Reiki, we are working at different levels. So we not only have clients who come to see us for physical ailments, but sometimes those physical ailments, it's not so much of a physical cause, it's sometimes something in terms of a mental block that we're having, or an emotional block, or even in cases that I deal with quite often is there's a spiritual block. So there's some old belief system that we may have been indoctrinated as young children around our relationship to God or source or higher power. And sometimes working through something with or like Reiki allows one to have or to clear that personal relationship or source with whatever that higher power is for them.
So what are the 5s again?
So there's physical, mental, and then there's emotional. Did I say 5? I'm so sorry. 4. I'm like, wait a minute, there's not. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Oh, so what does that look like when you're healing with somebody with all those traumas or blockages?
I think for me, it's more of looking at it like an onion, and it's just peeling back. And so I'll give you an example. If someone is coming in maybe with some discomfort in their knees. Well, your knees energetically are what can help you propel forward in life. And so for me, it's not so much of focusing on directly on that knee, the physical aspect of the knee, but even though my hands may be over their knee, it's also inquiry and digging a little deeper and finding out what potentially things that are interfering on an emotional level. That is there a fear of moving forward in life? And sometimes going through that period of the session of talking about what blocks they may have emotionally could allow them to break free from that block and in time notice a difference in the physical aspect of that pain and discomfort.
Can you clarify? So you had a patient with a knee knee issue,
right.
and what happened? What's wrong with what happened with this client?
She came in and she had lost a lot of weight, so she was coming in specifically with the understanding that it had to do with the physical issue and that she was struggling with some physical discomfort around her knees. And she was a client that I worked with for several months, but I would say within the first, let's just say 4 sessions, usually that's about 2 weeks together, we got to a level of comfort where we were a little more focused on digging deeper than the physical part. So she felt some movement and changes physically in her body, but by that fourth session, we were kind of diving a little deeper, talking about fear moving forward in life, and were there things that she was struggling with, and she so happened to have been an older woman who lost a lot of weight, went through a divorce, and putting herself out there again was really like the issue that she was having. And it was just through that moment of asking questions and her having that emotional release and really
clarity
and crying,
yeah,
and sitting with herself. It's not so much talk therapy as it is
emotional release. Like clients sometimes will cry, will get very emotional, but then they feel so much better when they leave. They're just like their energy, you can see in their aura the shift in the energy. They go from a frequency where you can see the dense energy around them, like a darker energy, and then when you after the session, it's like a transformed, reborn, new person, because the energy field is full of light. It's illuminated. It's energetic. It's shiny and bright, and it's a lifting. You can feel actually the patterns of energy before and after. When you're doing a session, you might feel some heaviness right here in the chest or the back, where there's trapped, like maybe emotions in the heart for maybe a breakup or a past relationship where it's been stored deep, in the heart. And you, after the, doing the session, we just remove all those toxins, all those stored debris. Like it's just like trash. It's just garbage that just accumulates in the energetic body. And when you do the Reiki, you remove that trapped energy and you make room for more beautiful new energy. So it's taking the old and transforming it to the new. It's a very interesting.
Actually, I felt it right now as you're reaching into her heart and grabbing and taking out and transitioning. Reiki healing sounds like it's really like a spiritual connection.
True, because we do not do the healing. I am not the healer. It is God that works through me as the vessel to conduct and use my light and my energy, my intentions, to really expand the consciousness, to really get deep to those issues.
I like it when she works on me.
I can feel a lot of warmth from this woman. Is just a beautiful soul. Her heart is just illuminated. It's bright and it's beautiful, and it's a work. It's just a precious
love.
Yeah, it's just a lot of love.
So is there a transition? When does the transition happen, and when is that frequency happen from the dark frequency to the light frequency? Where is that transformation?
It's all an individual basis, depending on how much work a person needs and how much soul awakening that they need. Right? It's a process. It's like peeling the layers, like Brooke said, of the onion, going to the root cause. Sometimes you won't find out in the first sessions.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a personal conquest, and even as Reiki masters who train other people to be practitioners, our level 1 is self-healing. In order to serve and be of service or to support other people through their journey, we need to walk the path before them. And so in our Reiki level 1, it's really about developing, or in our case as masters, we will, in that training, attune our practitioners to very specific frequencies, or we use symbols as well, but ultimately it's a frequency.
Can you clarify?
You want to clarify what we mean in terms of frequency?
Frequency, symbolism, which, whatever you guys can give me a little more context about what really is the measure of healing that you're trying to gravitate towards?
Well, the symbols, they're Reiki symbols that are sacred symbols, and we'll take the palm of the hand and we'll put our symbol, the symbol of power, to empower that individual. And really it's through the Reiki master, our ascended consciousness, and the work that we do through love, that our intentions to help and heal that person is imprinted into their DNA. It is. It's the process that it's an attunement. It's going through like, ritual, like a ceremony. Someone gets married. It's a sacred ritual that we do, and we have a circle of beautiful men and women that have joined our circles, and it's just it's a day of love or 2 days that we have at our center here, and we really pour our heart and our soul into the work that we do, and each and every individual that comes out, they're a different person. We've helped so many people that now do the work that we do.
And one question that I often get when somebody hears about Reiki and energy therapy and are maybe a little weary of it, the way that I explain it is it's all intuition. And so when you go through a Reiki practitioner training, it's in stages and levels and layers, like the onion. And through that journey of creating and developing a self-practice, you are peeling back your layers. And those layers are our ego. And so as a Reiki practitioner, when you come into a space, you not only set the intention, but you ask that your client will set their own intention. They're coming in, something is like, I call it the heart's question. Like, what is weighing on your heart today? What are you struggling with? You don't have to say it to me. But when we establish or initiate the session, put that out there. And I will go ahead and add my intention to your intention to amplify it. But when I then put my hands over, and sometimes it's not even the act of doing that, it's just establishing that connection, that intention, and being in that space, it has nothing to do with the individual ego. That through that personal practice and time of evolving and becoming a Reiki practitioner or a master, you learn how to remove your ego in this space. And so when we come into it, we're not coming into it with the intent to fix, to be the individual who's going to heal you. What we're just doing is removing that, creating presence. We're intuitively guided to ask questions, to move, to focus on very specific areas through intuition. We are able to, through enough practice, to remove the ego. And so when we talk about Reiki and the energy of Reiki and it being this life force energy, it's really teaching you how to connect to your intuition. So if you're coming in with a very specific ailment, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you're the one in that period of time who is getting that download, who is getting that answer from God. If you're spiritual or even religious, like, it's very close to prayer. When we go in that quiet space at night or in the morning, or if we're meditating or praying, it's that moment of silence and stillness where we are able to receive that download. And that ultimately is just what is happening in that Reiki session. And as the facilitator, the master, we're creating that space.
Holding the space for someone.
Can I ask you a question? How are you breaking down these barriers and the ego before this session happens? Because I see myself or somebody who is unaware of your practice coming in very guarded. So how does Reiki healing break the barriers and allow your healing to be an open vessel for your work to be done? How does that work? What does that look like?
It's a transfer of our illuminated energy to that person. Then they see that and they feel, because as you know, energy is indivisible, but it can be seen and felt. It can be felt like on a level. So our clients are with us and they feel the heart-centered energy that radiates, and they feel in a space that's very comfortable. And we leave our egos at the door. We're selfless. We don't we don't have any judgment. We're non-judgmental.
I loved it. I loved how you said that it's really not about fixing somebody. So you're really taking this other approach and really define it as some kind of spiritual guidance and opening and redirecting.
If that is what it's intended to be.
Right. Every situation and person is different. Some people just want to learn so they become a teacher, and there's something that's piquing their curiosity because they feel that there's more out there, because they have had experiences with energy and maybe insight, or they know that there's more to life than meets the eye. There is a spiritual world. There's another realm and dimension of higher power out there, and that's God's energy. And they feel like, wow, you know what? God can work through me as a vessel, and I can use my energy, my intentions to help and heal, because we're all created in the mirror image of God. Right. So God said we would do greater works than He in the Bible. So we are doing greater works, and your miracles are happening every day. And when you have that faith and that belief, that strong faith, nothing can make your faith unwaver. Nothing can disturb your strength. No one can take that from you, because you know who you are and what you do. Yeah. And that's all that matters. If you love yourself so much, and God has told you and He's appointed you to help others, well then you're helping others, and that's your intention, and that's through God. It's God's work. So those naysayers or the people that don't believe in that and they think it's terrible or whatever, there's something in their consciousness, in their mind, and their preconceived notions that they came, or someone else they heard. But once you experience a session, you see that we're working from our hearts and through love, and it will shift your energy as well, because
I'm really feeling this energy. It's like the scripture that says faith as small as a mustard seed, and I think that is the most beautiful thing, even being with you girls, talking about your healing and your transformation. Is there a client that you guys can talk about that you really have done an impact and would love to share their story in regards to your Reiki healing?
I had a client, he was going through a divorce, a terrible, terrible divorce, and he contacted me, and I guess he found me on the internet, on the website, or Googled me, and he came in for a session. And this was like 5 years ago, and over the years he's come back for sessions, and he came up to me, he says, I was going through one of the roughest times in my life, a marriage that I thought this woman was the woman of my dreams. We broke up, and I was so broken at the time that you did something special. I'll never forget your energy and your love and your caring and concern, that I was able to go and make it through this difficult time in my life, and we still keep in touch this day. Oh, wow. And he sends me prayers and things when he goes to church, and little sermons, and he gave me my Bible that I have, big Bible, and that I use it for prayer night, and we just created a big connection there. But he said, if it wasn't for you, I don't know what I would have done through this difficult time in my life. So it was the intention to help remove the emotional trauma that was in his heart and also in his mind too.
Do you remember vividly about this type of Reiki healing that you gave to him, this energy? Do you remember?
I could feel in his energy field, I could feel the pain.
Yes.
I could feel that his mind was cluttered. I felt a lot of pressure here at the top of his skull here, and his higher self, the consciousness was just, the energy patterns were just disturbed, and they were just broken. And then at the throat, I felt like it was blocked too, because his truth, his voice, I felt a lot of tension. Darker energy here. And then in the heart, of course, there was a lot of pain and trauma there. So I did a lot of work on him, and he came in for several sessions. But the healing, now he's happy, he's onto a new relationship, and he's thriving and doing well. And we talk about the Bible and God a lot, so we've remained, connected over the years. So that's just a story that Reiki really, it's a miracle. It's just, we wouldn't be doing this work, right, Brooke, if we didn't feel like we were divinely appointed and called to do the work we don't. It takes...
It's a calling.
Yes.
It's a calling. And I think that many of us come into this through some life-altering event. And it's quite often where it's like a change in a career, a loss of a job, divorce, illness, something that we are in search of. Sometimes it's purpose, when it comes to actual like Reiki training is that people are coming to become a practitioner because they don't quite know what they want to do, and they're in that open heart space, and they're open to learning something, and they're wanting to find a way in to that source. And it's not so much of us saying you should do this, you should do that, here's a protocol of how to navigate this journey that you're on, but really like gatekeepers. It's like we are guides. We're all guides for each other, but as Reiki masters, we're just guides. We're there to create that safe container for self-exploration. And I think what is so incredible about what Eve does is all the modalities that you bring into your sessions, that not only as a Reiki master and knowing how to tap into that energy field of theirs, but through hypnosis and really working through those limiting beliefs. Huge. And I remember my session with Eve was so transformational because I was going through my own internal process of just being in a marriage that wasn't, kind of had its expiration, and we were growing further and further apart, and just wanting to I feel like that time that I had with you, even though that. In my session you're it's a whole other thing I don't want to get you're in this dream state. So you're there, but you're not there. And I do find that very much in Reiki. When Reiki is done to me, I very much, after all these years, know that that's the space that I'm in. But I notice that too as a Reiki master and working on people, that oftentimes when they come out of it, it's like, I was here, but I was somewhere else. And it is this outer body experience.
Wow.
And as going through that with Eve and being able to go through that hypnosis and being in that calm state to surrender to God, for me, to find clarity in my course of action that I needed to take from that point in my life. And it wasn't so much of her telling me, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that, and her standing in as the fixer of my problems. I sat down in the chair, got comfortable, surrendered, put that intention there. She did what she needed to do to guide me through that hypnosis meditation. And whatever happened in that time wasn't her telling me what to do, but being that beacon of light, or sometimes I use the term like a lighthouse, and creating that safe space for me to just completely surrender.
What is that? Can I ask you a very personal question? What is that surrender? What were you surrendering? What did it look like? Am I allowed to?
Sorrow.
Sorrow.
Not knowing. Not knowing. Fear. Fear of the unknown is a big one. Fear of letting myself down when it comes to marriage, and no marriage is perfect, and we were just in a very tough time, and I was not aware of what was really going on for me emotionally, and so I was having a lot of emotional blockages. And at that time, I was not involved in Reiki. I was coming for just curiosity with hypnosis, but walking away from that one experience and feeling that level of being at peace has stuck with me ever since. And it was that ability to be at that level of just peace.
I think that's
really
where we're all trying to get
my trajectory and how I was operating in my life.
Wow.
Thanks for sharing that, Brooke. I mean, I remember the session, but thanks for really, sharing that. I didn't.
I really love the fact that you guys are telling us about like how you guys reached this peace point.